Hi, everybody, and welcome. I hope everybody's having an incredible day. I really wanted to come on and really had been channeling so much information this week and just tapping into a lot of the energies collectively that we're experiencing. So I wanted to share that with you and share some internal work that has really come up with a very important invitation for healing work that we're doing this week. So I'd like to do that with you now. And since we're experiencing this Aquarius and full moon, maybe taking advantage of this really powerful surge of energy that we're kind of collectively feeling in preparation for going into more decreasing energy into the new moon, which will really catapult everything that you're doing today and this weekend, actually. All the energetic work, all the healing that you're doing in the next couple of days will really magnify when we come into that creative life force energy of the new moon going into the next few weeks. So I am so excited to be here with you guys, and I am just ready to share with you some of this healing work that I have been really doing these past couple weeks, actually. And I've really been feeling this kind of energy for the past 4 or 5 months, actually. And as I work with my clients every day, it's coming up as a very common theme. Themes that we are cycling through, as you know, as a collective, healing the feminine, the masculine aspects of ourselves. And the invitation is really there to go deeper into that subconscious programming, traumatic experiences that is really being invited to work on. So today in this meditation we're going to jump into in just a moment, I'd like to invite you to work in with all of the parts of us that we are really feeling coming up, where we might be feeling stuck, stagnation, energy where we feel we're not moving. And we're going to really begin to train, as you know, with my work, the work that I do here on this channel and with my clients is the primary training to read your multidimensional body, to understand, to translate this non-physical communication from the universe, from the expansion and reflection of all that you are, so that you can begin to help yourself in progressing forward with your healing work. We are moving through a massive transition moment in which, as the entire universe moves faster in this timeline that we're in, the invitation to do the healing work is really coming up more and more. But the problem is that what we're feeling is that if we're resistant to some of that healing work, if we're resistant to some of that change, we're feeling it more within the physical body. And I know that we've been hearing this a lot, but what do we do when those emotions become magnified and it becomes very difficult to navigate? And so, as always, even though this certain time world events might kind of make us think that things are handled in a different way, we always have to remember that what we want to come back to is the basics, the fundamental laws of creation, which are always the same. They are always the same because we abide by the laws of creation of this natural world that we are in. And you, as the expression, as the mirror effect of everything that's happening externally, your power lies in the management of what you are perceiving, how you are perceiving what you're experiencing, and how you are integrating your healing in the depths of the multidimensional layers. So the invitation is really there so that we begin to move through any kind of stagnation that we're feeling and perceiving in our multidimensional body. So what I'm going to be working with you today is we're going to be tapping in to our multidimensional body, and we're going to read what's been happening there. What has been storing in your multidimensional body that hasn't been wanting to be expressed? What is in the subconscious mind that is kind of lingering in the back that we haven't done the work? How many of you have been doing your meditations daily? Put it down in the comments below. I want to hear all the work that you're doing and where you're stuck. Talk to me. Where are you feeling that things are not moving forward? This is what we want to work with. And I really want you to address all the emotions that we have that have been stronger than more than other times, that are really coming up for you. Those are the ones that we're going to be working on today. They're the ones that we're going to be focusing on, because the more and more we ignore them or we allow them to kind of uncontrollably express themselves without awareness, the more and more it begins to uh, basically design and shift our coming experiences. Remember that as an organism, as part of a whole, we are cycling through patterns, cyclical patterns of karmic trauma. So when we are collectively moving through these kinds of shifts, all of the things that collectively are being expressed and magnified through the movements of the celestial bodies, whether they reside in the feminine aspects of ourselves or the masculine aspects of ourselves, they are the ones that are magnified the most. And oftentimes these emotions become so overwhelming that it becomes difficult and we get lost and we forget. We get very lost in the physical aspect of ourselves. We forget that we are not the physical. In fact, the physical is one tiny little expression of a greater whole that we need to become aware of. And during this lifetime, our awareness of that greater whole is what will help us conclude in more active and healing astral travel, dream time, healing and reintegrating of fragments. And ultimately, when we get to death, and whenever that moment comes that we begin to depart from the physical, we have a successful departure from the physical fragment that we are experiencing at this time. And that is incredibly important, as with all creation, that we begin to design how we're navigating ourselves. This current moment is the designing of all that we're experiencing. As you're creating your energetic body, everything that you are expressing energetically from your center core, from all of the information in the main energy centers of the body, which are interconnected to your organs, which are interconnected to the nervous system, the chakras, all of the main systems of the body that are in charge of creating energetic movements in your body, chemical movements in your body, really, really affect the way that how your health is, right? Whether you're going more into inflammatory emotions and expressions, or you're coming into a state of neutrality, healing, balance, and ultimately peace. So, in this time of great turmoil and when all this stuff is going on, it's difficult for us to find, we believe, or it feels that it might be difficult to find that peace. We're going to train ourselves by understanding the technology of this multidimensional body, how to ground fully in the body. And we're going to begin today's practice by beginning to work on tapping into the senses, the five senses, which are, of course, the parts of us that are constantly receiving information from outside of us, giving and taking. And we're going to refocus our attention into the real true being, which is the one that observes all of those things that are happening around us. So before I begin that, I want to give some shout outs to all of you beautiful people that are tuning into me today. I loved you so much and I miss you. And I'm so happy to connect with you today. RR2, Elizabeth Lucci, Martinet, good evening. Monique Bryan, hey. Luana, hello, Luana. Luana is an amazing hypnotherapist, by the way. Please do check her out if you'd like to get some hypnotherapy sessions. She's incredible at the work she does. And I've had a chance to do some work with her recently that was very amazing, and probably will share that session with you guys soon. Pono, thank you for being here. Always love Pono. Zaza, good evening. Lynette Cruz, so wonderful to see you. Samir, Monique, Lynette, Ty, so great to see you from Toronto. Tonadzine Hernandez, solar plexus, that's what she's working on. Yep. That's a good one. Dave Scott, my beloved Dave Scott, my co-host on our Spaced Out Radio. Please do check that out and tune in. He has an incredible show every night. We have Lynette Cruz, Jay Breezy. Hello, welcome. Joyce Hartman, Greetings from Washington. Peace and love to you. Peace and love to you as well. Summer and Lisa Stearns. Hello. Love you guys. You guys are my tribe, my family. Alba Weinman, so good to see you. All my love to you. You guys are so great, and it really feels so good to connect with you guys. And so for today, let's get started with this practice. We're going to go deeper into Guy Merritt says, I need a more esoteric name. No, I think your name is amazing. And remember that words are power. Words are vibrational frequency. The names that we have define our essence, like what we're doing. They're an expression of one of our essences that are being expressed as this name. So thank you so much. Sonia, much love to you. Fernando Estrada, homelessness makes practicing meditation hard to many people around with too much disruption in connections. Fernando, that could be a possibility, absolutely. But remember that the life that we chose to experience and everything that's a cause and effect. So wherever we are is exactly where we need to be. And the experiences that we are experiencing, the harder they are, it's because we have maybe lifetimes and lifetimes of practice and experience in these realms. So if you're experiencing something challenging right now in your life, I want you to remember that you are designed for that challenge. You have all of the knowledge and wisdom in order to navigate the plane that you're in, even though it might feel that you don't, you tend to feel lost or isolated. All of that is part of the illusion of the compartmentalized reality within the physical realm that we're living in. So this time, it's important for us to pull back from the illusion of that separation and come back into unity consciousness, which means that the universe within is united, is integrated, fully embodied, and you are congruent with every action, the words that you're speaking, the thoughts that you're thinking, the emotions that you're feeling are congruent at all times. I'm noticing more and more that because of all the craziness that's happening in the world, that congruency is kind of falling out of place because people believe that they have to fall into certain categories or follow along with certain things. And more than ever, I want to remind you that all of these distracting things external to us are the expression of all of the confusion and chaos that's happening internally, individually. As above, so below, inside out. We are reflecting that externally. So how do we find peace collectively is by doing that internal work. When you find your 0 point, that singularity, that point where the unconscious becomes conscious, we can begin to create. That creative life force energy is what you are designed to do on this planet, in this existence, in this fractal expression. So the invitation is that you help yourself with every tool possible. Meditation is not just being quiet. Meditation is constant awareness and observation of yourself in whatever environment you are in at any time. So let's begin to work on that. So for this first part of this practice, I would really like to train our 5 senses in finding the true self. We can do that in 1 second. And I want you to do that by begin with your eyes open, looking directly in front of you. And you're going to take your attention to your ears, to what you're hearing. Okay. And without any resistance, just noticing any sounds that you hear in your home, in your space, wherever you are. Okay, we're going to direct our attention to our sight. What do you see? And in this practice, observing if judgment or if we want to categorize or apply meaning to anything that we're seeing. So you're going to pull away from all of that and just go into a state of observation. What are you seeing? Just looking, observing. Notice what your emotional body wants to do when you observe with your eyes. What are you smelling? What are you tasting? Okay. And now I want you to put your attention out. What are you feeling around you? What are you sensing around your space? Go ahead and tap into that. 360 degrees in 1 second. Become aware of everything around you. What are you sensing around you? Okay, now we're going to go faster. We're going to go through this cycle again, and we're going to move faster. What are we hearing? What are we seeing? Breathing. Remember to breathe. What are you smelling? You don't even need to um, apply meaning to anything, just observing, observing. You don't need to have any answers, just observe. What are you tasting in your mouth? What are you sensing? It doesn't really matter where you are. Okay, we're going to do that even faster. What are you hearing? What are you seeing? What are you tasting? What are you sensing? And you're going to go faster. Do it again, all the way around. Again. Again. Moving from hearing, sight, smelling, taste, sensing, feeling. Okay. And you're going to do it again. Now, the one that is at the center of all of these sensations, that is the self, that is the being, that's you. So keep doing that quickly, moving from one sense to the next, and noticing that what is at the center of that, what is observing those senses, that's the true you, that's the essence. So we're going to take this essence and we're going to take it into our meditation. You're going to close your eyes. And now that you've identified and felt that essence, that core, with every breath you take, allowing yourself to observe the sounds, the sensations, the smells, the tastes, and deepening this observation. Breathing as that being that is you breathes. With every breath you take, I want you to begin to observe now the emotions that are in your body at this time. Take your attention to the emotions that are in your body. Okay. Begin to identify those emotions. What's going on in your body today? What's acting up? What's more active? Is it the root, the sacral, the solar? Go ahead and observe that. The chakra that is the most wide open of the lower three is the one that is managing our creation at this time. The one of your senses that is the hardest to focus on, that's the one that's unconsciously creating at this time. So, as you tap into those emotions, begin to select the one that is the strongest for you at this time in the body. And go ahead and identify, where does that emotion live in the body? Where is that stored? Is it in an organ? Is it in a part of the body, in a layer of the body? And we're going to take our attention from the inside layer out to the external in just a minute. We're going to start working in our dimensional field in just a moment. Breathing deeply. Go ahead and sit with that part that you've identified, and I want you to be absolutely present with it. Notice that emotion that comes up. So, this part that you've identified, wherever it is in your body, okay, is telling you where you are creating from at this time. And it's also what's most magnified energetically. When we go through these energetic energies, celestial bodies that are moving, they're triggering certain aspects of ourselves. And oftentimes, the heaviest parts of us are the ones that get mostly triggered. So if you've been feeling stuck, if you've been feeling like it's difficult to move forward, or if any kind of fears or intimidations or doubts, this is what is causing the blockage from you moving effortlessly through this transition point. And the full moon in Aquarius represents the rebellion, the expansion, the unity consciousness, the collective movement. So it's no coincidence that we are accessing this part of us at this time. So I want you to sit with that emotion for just a moment, and I want you to allow it to provide you with information. Go ahead and tune in and let it speak to you, allowing you to understand all that you need to know from this emotion within the body, from this part of the body, wherever it is. See that. Breathing deeply. I want you to now take your attention out. As you begin to look at all that information, what is attached to this part of the body? I want you to begin to follow what that feels like, that stagnant energy. I want you to give it a shape. Begin to observe it with your third eye. Begin to observe with your higher mind's eye as you intuitively begin to look at what it looks like as it manifests in the physical form. And you're going to follow it out to one of your dimensional planes. And we have 13 planes that extend around us. So I want you to go ahead and go into the layer of your dimensional body in which this thought form resides. This is a thought form. And go ahead and notice if it's within the first 7 layers, 3 layers, or 13 layers. And this will tell you a lot about where you're at spiritually, where you're at emotionally in your journey. As you begin to follow it back to its origin, go ahead and allow yourself to tap into the information that lies there within that origin. What's the contractual agreement for this experience that you're having at this time, for this blockage? What's the lesson? What needs to be learned through this manifestation of stagnant energy? Is it something that is in alignment with other past lives? Is it a soul agreement that you've made to experience this. Notice that. And as you begin to identify this agreement, these contractual agreements to have this in your body, I want you to create a vortex of light in front of you. And this vortex of light connects to Source. It is unconditional love. We are a collection of black holes and white holes. And this light source is this contractive energy, and the dark is the contractive energy, the light is the expansive energy. And so whatever you are removing from your body, allow it to go into this vortex, into this white light, leaving your body if you feel ready to let that go. And what I mean, let it go, it doesn't mean that it's something separate from us. It means that we are bringing awareness to this aspect of ourselves to connect with unconditional love without any fear of seeing what it is, who we are, why we're there. So in this process, it's very important not to go into judgment of any kind or having to compartmentalize what you're experiencing and seeing. Understand that this is a part of you. We created that. And so now that you've identified and brought awareness to this space, you can choose with your own free will. So if you choose, go ahead and visualize that you're eliminating that, allowing it to experience Source. Notice what it looks like as it removes from your body, as it detaches from the organs, from the different energy centers of the body, the chakras, the emotions. And taking a deep breath, you are providing healing for your body. Any kind of ailments, aches, and pains begin to subside, begin to heal, because you are removing the root cause of any kind of imbalance within the body. Breathing deeply. As you identify what it looks like, the colors will tell you what it is. It'll tell you what it's connected to. It'll tell you the consciousness that resides within that, or the lack of consciousness that resides within that. Depending on the color that it is, it will tell you the frequency, the wavelength. Darkest being the darker colors, going down to the blacks, more stagnant energy, grays, denials, fears, going up to red, going up to orange, insecurities, doubts, going up to yellow, emotional, fears, anger, resistance, helplessness. And as you go up the ranges of frequency, the colors, you begin to notice that each chord has a different meaning. Normally, these chords are pretty much darker colors, lower, heavy vibrational ranges. Notice that. Notice that. Breathing deeply, breathing deeply. As you remove that from the body, into that vortex, inviting it to experience the infinite, I want you to pull down from source a powerful white light now that you're going to fill that space in with white light. And I want you to begin to wrap yourself in a blanket of white light at this moment. Surround yourself in that white light. Healing all of the parts of the body that require attention, that require love. And you're going to go from the first dimensional layer, the first chakra, out to the 13th. We're going to begin at the first. Go ahead and clear the first layer of your body. Notice as you look around you with your mind's eye in the first layer of your body, the physical plane, what are you ready to release? What are you ready to let go? This can be illnesses, pains, aches, thought forms that no longer serve you. You're becoming aware of everything without fear, without judgment, just simply acknowledging the things that are in your space that you rather transmute, that you rather change at this moment. Without fear, without resistance. And we are compassionately letting all of these things that we're ready to let go into that vortex of white light, where it enjoys an infinite source, no longer having to attach to our lack of awareness. In fact, it becomes whole again by reconnecting with source. You're going to go to your second layer. Go ahead and begin scanning, moving through the second layer. What are we ready to release from here? Breathing. Eliminating. You may notice that what you feel outside of you in the second layer is connected very much to the organs that are connected to your sacral. Okay, that is an orange energy, sacral energy. Go ahead and visualize clearing, cutting cords, relationships, imbalanced exchanges, people and places, things that are no longer in alignment with you. And as you release, taking back your life force, reintegrating, recharging your organism with this conscious awareness of yourself. Going up into the solar plexus. You're going into the third layer. Once again, moving around, clearing it out. Allowing that vortex to introduce all of the things that we no longer want to have in our space, leave our space. Breathing deeply. Going up into the chest now, the heart chakra, but this is the fourth layer. Go ahead and scan that space. Releasing everything that doesn't serve us in this heart holographic space around us. Now we're going into the higher frequencies, the higher levels of the body. These are the ones that are heavily targeted when we don't clean out the first three. So begin to notice any heavy emotions that you're feeling. They're going to be heavily connected to your first three chakras, but we're going to store that in the heart center. So go ahead and visualize that you're clearing out this fourth dimensional layer, allowing that vortex to absorb into that space out of your body. With every breath you take. Very good. going up into the throat. Now, this is really important, and this is one that's getting targeted by our inability or the belief that we're incapable of expressing our truth. Okay? So, taking a moment to notice our relationship with truth. Are we truthful? Are we truthful to ourselves? Are we truthful about ourselves to ourselves? Go ahead and notice any resisting programs around truth. Are we truthful about the way that we feel about certain things that are happening in our lives collectively? Taking a moment to sit with that relationship with truth, really, really important. Breathing deeply. Going into the fifth layer now. The sixth layer. Your third eye, your intuition. What are you connecting to? Are you connecting more to technology than nature? Anytime that we tap in to technology or things that are distracting us, pulling us away from the organic to the unseen world, this is where we are neglecting and rejecting our consciousness. We are rejecting our free will. In fact, we are asking to be told what to do. We're looking outside of us for direction, for guidance. So we have to turn that around. All the parts of us that fear empowerment, that fear our own trust in ourselves, our own guidance, our own intuition. Go ahead and take a look at that relationship that we have with trust, with surrender. Notice in the body the fears that come up when we speak of surrender, of trust. And usually these emotions are around the way we see ourselves and how we embody trust. Do you trust yourself? Breathing into that. Working with any emotions and fears that might come up. And again, releasing out of that layer. What does that mistrust look like in your layers? Is it more than one layer that houses this belief? And letting it go. You're going to visualize a pillar of white light that runs through the center core of your body. We're going to activate the eighth, the ninth, the 10th. Simply bringing your awareness to those layers of your body, the 11th, the 12th, the 13th. And above you is a white light of source. Go ahead and connect up into that white light. And you're going to bring down from source the pillar of white light that comes through this organism, that is this organism. You're going to anchor it down to the center core of the earth. This is what you are. You are this light. You are this infinite source. Consciousness, awareness. I want you to see that pillar of white light through the body and notice that when this solid white light is conscious and aware inside the body, all the organs begin to come into place. All of those sensations of fear or that need for stimulation, acceptance, love, anything that wants to look outside of the body, we take that attention into the center core. So just sit imagining If you're unable to visualize, to see, imagine that white light, a pole of white light going through your body from source, down through the crown of your head, down your spine, anchoring it into the center of the earth. And I want you to sit in silence here with this visual and just observing how the body comes back into balance. What you're doing here is what happens when we go into nature. When we go into nature, we automatically begin to realign ourselves. This toroidal field around the body begins to move in alignment with its natural blueprint, its natural organic movement. So allowing yourself to move this energy through the body, it begins to cycle through, up through the crown of the head, up around and back in through the perineum, back in, back around. So feel that energy running through your body for a moment. Just visualize that you become a fountain of white light. No blockages, nothing is stagnant, nothing is stuck. Just pure movement, pure flow. You guys are doing amazing. Breathing. Excellent. As you are grounded down to the center of the earth in this pillar of white light, you're going to visualize expanding it around you to create a sphere. This sphere is your awareness of your multidimensional expression. Walk around all day long, holding this vision of yourself as more than just physical. You are this infinite light. You are light. Others are light as well. So if you begin to look at yourself as light and others as light, all of those compartmentalized illusions, fears, doubts begin to dissolve because you look at things for what they truly naturally are, beyond the illusion of this matrix. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and come back into the room. Go ahead and open your eyes. And with your eyes open now, we're going back to those senses. You're going to begin to tap into what you're hearing, what you're seeing, what you're tasting, what you're smelling. But at the same time, I want you to become aware again. Bring the awareness to your energetic body, to that pillar of white light that goes through your body. The awareness that each one of your layers that extends around you is not stagnant. It is flowing. It is movement. It is open. It is aware. Excellent work. Very good. So I'll give you a moment to come back. I want to thank you so much for working with me here today. It was a true pleasure to guide you through that. And I really hope that it helps you in deepening your meditation practice. Remember that meditation is a way of life. It's not just sitting with your eyes closed. It's constant. It's right here, right now, the awareness of yourself and what you're doing. And so this is where we come in a little bit deeper into intentional living, intentional creation, and co-creation. Of course, the laws of creation define that when the two parts of us, the feminine and masculine, come into peace, come into balance and awareness, that's when we can truly create. So that's true with the way that we're speaking and expressing, feeling, sensing, doing, acting, and the presence that we embody in this earth. It's very important that it's congruent on all those levels. So I invite you to do that this week. I want to thank you again. And tomorrow, we had Frequency Friday conversation earlier today for Camp Disclosure, which is in August. So if you are in Georgia, or around that area and wish to come join us at Camp Disclosure, I will be speaking there on August 24th to the 26th. And I am also producing Wisdom Conference, which will be September 24th to the 26th. We have some incredible speakers that I would love to invite. I think where my attention is going to now is to really clarifying our understanding of the collective in a way that we can embody that wisdom more than just listening to things, practicing and doing and living that wisdom, that understanding. So this is why I do these kinds of conferences, and I participate in other conferences like with my dear friend Zane Daniel, who just did Higher Self Expo. And a lot of you really love the content that was shared on there. So we want to reach out to those that are putting that work out. If you're also in the healing arts and working on that and want to share your gift with the world, please reach out, and you can begin to apply to become a healer on higherhealing.com, which WisdomCon is a conference linked to those healers. So those of you that are trying to spread your light in the world and trying to gain connection to your people that need your gift, because we all have our unique people that need gifts from us. Come on to the platform and connect with those that need to connect with you. We are creating this virtual connection and community that is a place for us to interconnect. So thank you so much. And tomorrow I'm speaking at Portal to Ascension. We're going to talk about hybrids. We're going to talk about the hybridization program, hybrids, what they are, what they're doing here. Why do we have hybrids? Why are thousands of men and women experiencing the hybridization program? And what does it mean for us collectively and individually for the future? Okay, we're looking at the different programs. We're going to be looking at terrestrial to interdimensional to higher vibrational expressions of that. What do they mean? And what is our role in that hybridization program? Actually, maybe all of us are part of that. Maybe we are a product of that. So if we are genetically modified organisms, what role do we play? And how does learning about how our DNA deposits information over centuries play a role in the experiences that we're having now? Do we have free will? Are we able to transmute any kind of old repetitive traumas into growth, expansion, and healing, not just for ourselves, but our family lineages and our collective? So we're going to talk about all of these things and their complexities. There's many aspects to it. Other special guests that will be there will be Daryl Anka, Barbara Lamb, here's the banner, Mary Rodwell, Phil Gruber, Maya Christabel, Valeria Bruno, Sheila Seppi, Alan Steinfeld, dear friend of mine, Rebecca Rose, Neil Gower, and Jacqueline Smith. So I'm really excited to share this event with you. Please do sign up if you haven't already, and I will see you there. I want to give you all my love, and let me just go to the comments and see if there's any questions or anything that I can help answer here. Colors holding. Thank you so much, Alexander Galvez, for tuning in. Much love to you. Elliot, I'm trying. Elliot, you're doing amazing. If you have any questions, connect with me and we can work deeper on those things, but you're doing amazing. Joe Pesci, wow, that's a weird trick. Okay, definitely share with me how your experience was, and if you need help, put your questions down below and we will address them. Monica Juraithe, thank you so much for being here, Monica. Monique, RR2, same time tomorrow. Nice, I'll see you here. Jessica Denise, thank you so much. I needed this so very much. Love and light, sweet friend. Much love to you, Jessica. Thank you for doing the work and holding the space. Universal Lights, 111. Many blessings. Oh, that's 1111. Brad M. Much love to you, Brad. Thank you. Lisa Davy. Gratitude as a flow vet tech meditation with animals. My own Reiki practice healed. I want so badly. Let's do it, Lisa. Connect with me. We need that. We absolutely need that. Guy Merritt says, so odd. I told my wife I woke up with a tremendous anxiety this morning at 3:33. Then I see this video. Weird. Guy, I really hope that this helps. When I have kinds of interdimensional things that happened, for me, that meditation and energy work is effective on all dimensional planes. And our dreams are things that we're doing on other dimensions. So become aware of that and notice the emotions that you're bringing into the waking state. That's what you want to work on. Sometimes it's a metaphor for things that are happening globally and in our greater life. So take a look at that and address that. Ruba Magrabi says, thank you, Geraldine. I know you are super busy and I appreciate this time to share with us. Love you so much, Ruba. Hope to be back here more often as we're going through all of these events this year. Sandra, thank you so much for being here. Love Sandra's always here. She's just amazing. Amanda Fairley, thank you so much. That was so needed. I appreciate all of this. Great. That's amazing. Joe Pissy says, what about the ant people? Are they good energy or bad? That's a really great question. Ant people are something that I've come across in my experiences and also something that has come in my family lineage at one time. And I think that they have really profound connections in the natives of America and South America. So I think that they are descendants of these lineages that come from the Anunnaki. In fact, some of this RH negative lineage that comes down from that lineage descending into the Americas. So we can talk about that some other time, but it's very interesting. I don't believe in categorizing anything as good and bad. I think that everything is an expression of polarity. And even within the ant people, I've seen both. Okay. The thing is, what we've experienced with them, is it parasitic? Is it not? And all of that depends on you and the experiences that you're having with those beings. So take a look at those root expressions. Joan, One Love, Ray, Mama Ren, love you so much, Mama Ren. You guys are so great. So great to connect with you. Alexander Convent, Alexander work with the Hopi. Oh, there you go. Alexander Convent, work with the Hopi. That's right. That's exactly right. Summer Wind says, aren't the ant people the Greys? You know, what I have seen is that the ant is a different lineage, not exactly the Greys. They look different. They really do look very different than the Greys. It's a completely different construct, architecture to their body type, a little bit more angular and thinner and then wider in the body. But I have seen different kinds. And of course, we have the hybridization programs within all of these lineages. So I have seen ant manifesting in grays as a mixture, also reptilian and other beings. So I think that some of this genetics get mixed into others as well. Okay. Elliot says, this is all very new and strange, but I know it's real now. Elliot, you're doing amazing. You guys are beautiful. I hope to have more of these ET conversations with you actually following this conference. So I hope to see you tomorrow. Let me see. D. Elizabeth has a question. Where does the RH negative 0 come from exactly? Well, it's not that it's something separate from the lineages, okay? The main three bloodlines that seeded life on this dimensional plane have evolved through genetic modification of our DNA into the many different blood types and DNA information that reside in the body. But what RH negative means is, in a sense, it's one of the oldest factors. And those that embody that kind of rare factor, it's kind of the purest form of consciousness within that physical body in the earth plane. They are the ones that have preserved bloodlines for a really, really long time. And a lot of these RH negatives are the ones that are the main bloodlines that from that RH negative descended the other blood types, were created, genetically modified, descended all of these other bloodlines on our earth plane. But we're only talking about earth. It also will define a person's experience, contact experience, awareness, psychic abilities. A lot of these RH negatives are quite intuitive. They have and they remember their contact experience, which makes them different from other blood types that sometimes don't always remember that unless they have heavy RH negative within the bloodline in their family. But again, we are so connected. We are all one, which means that our origin, just 2,000 years ago, you and I had a cousin. You and I were related somehow. So we all are descendants of that. I think it just has to do with the timeline that we're experiencing at this time and the information that we're ready to embody and experience at this time. Your blood type will identify that. What you're capable of processing, what you're experiencing. It has a lot to do with what your body experiences in the physical realm. This everything from illnesses to the food you eat to the experiences that you have all have to do with that blood type, and what you're embodying. So thank you for that question. I hope that answers that question. But the RH negative, the majority of them are in um, always the Basque. The Basque. The Basques are known for being the origin of that RH negative, but I don't believe that they are the origin. I believe that that was the direct collective where they collected. I think that the origin of that was actually in Mesopotamia. But a lot of contactees claim to have this RH negative, but I don't think I think all of us are contactees on some level. We are all genetically modified in some way. Guy Merritt says, I walked up to a complete stranger and told the guy that he had a weird close-up UFO sighting. He had, I didn't even know the guy. It was after an encounter. My wife was there. It was crazy. Interesting. So, did you recognize him, Guy? Because sometimes that happens. Sometimes we recognize people that we've had experiences with. That's interesting. Mari Bond says, yes, I hope to get you at the start with this. Yes, please, you can watch the replay in case you need some more. D. Elizabeth says, that's my blood type. Thank you for explaining it. Makes sense. Absolutely, Dee. So if you ever do some regression hypnotherapy work to access more information about your memories, probably you'll be able to access a lot of that even in your own meditations. So you can visit some of those memories. Summer says, Ryok says RH negative has to do with Syrian consciousness. Oh, interesting. I think that, because we're descendants of many different lineages, we're kind of an accumulation of everything, going from the Draconians to the Archons to all of that consciousness that came into experience separation through duality. So I think that we're a combination of many, many races. In fact, it's not one or another. But yeah, we can look into that more. Let me see. One love, yes, a necklace. Oh, thank you, Venusian. Thank you for that. Elliot says, I'm exhausted and signing off, but I want you to know that I clearly have purpose in all of this and you're changing lives. Thank you, Elliot. Love you. Thank you for being here. You too, by the way. I'm in Arizona. I've seen that the ant people before and I knew what they were. Hard to find info on them. You're correct. I've had a very hard time finding info on ant people and also the spiders or arachnid lineages. Very hard time finding information on them. And I know that they play an immense role in a lot of experiences that tend to be more parasitic in a sense, or from our human perception, parasitic. But they express an interesting exchange and interest in the human form. Thank you, Brad. Yes, we are Lightworker team. Yes, we are. Maribon says, yes, it does. I'm also RH negative. Yes, yay, that's amazing. RH negative is Native American. Also, that's really good. That's right, Universal. I'm loving these comments. Let me see. What else do we have here? This is really great. I love these conversations. Lisa Davies says, I saw so many exposed, moved, colony death. I saw so many on curbs. Autobiography, mantis, mangoes is my sign. Oh, very interesting. Very interesting. Are you talking about the ant people or the mantis? Clarify that for me. Guy Merritt I saw the guy at the wedding reception from across the room. I ran over and got his face and said that, and he told me identical. Oh, okay. So Guy saw this person somewhere else. And it was not someone he knew. Interesting. So Guy, you're tapping into your intuitive and you're really being able to see what's going on. And that's something that's really happening now, guys. This is kind of the next level technology is our telepathy, our ability to tune in and communicate in a way that's not physical, it's not through technology. This is what we want to activate in us and why it's so important for us to train our intuition at all times and our awareness. So practice that I gave at the beginning of this, tuning into all of your senses and finding your center core. The more and more you connect with that center core and you train yourself to be in a state of observation, the more you're able to tune in to this kind of information, people, places, things, and yourself. Amazing. So frequently it's very similar to them. Venusian says, I suspect I was a contactee as a child because I had a phobia of gray aliens my entire life, but I don't remember anything. That is really interesting because that is a trait that a lot of contactees subconsciously have. And sometimes they don't even realize what the gray alien symbolizes or anything about it, but they have a trauma with it, along with other little factors. So it's very interesting to look at what age this trauma or this phobia began. And that'll normally tell you when you started to have these experiences. So take a look at that. Venusian says it was a mantis experience. Mantis are very interesting. Yeah. All right. So what else? There's so many comments here. I just want to keep going. Yeah. Jessica Denise, are we allowed in this lifetime to meet unborn hybrid children, born hybrid children? Jessica, absolutely. I definitely think that we are allowed to meet these hybrid children. As you can see in my experience, I was introduced to my hybrid children, and that is a part of the hybridization program. Just as in our human race and the way that we humans and other living organisms on Earth function, the bonding process between mother and offspring is incredibly important to creating important neural pathways and even energetic and emotional development in that organism. And I think that this is an intelligence that is known for all organisms, that connection, that bonding experience that occurs between the mother and the organism is important for the development. When that doesn't happen, oftentimes the offspring will be more sickly or won't develop properly or won't be able to develop emotionally in a proper manner. And this happens with mice. It's been tested and proven with mice, different animals, and humans, of course. We see that in our own human expression. So these kinds of beings are very much aware of that. And so when they do the hybridization program, whether you remember it or not, that point of presentation is necessary for that organism to continue its development. And I believe that it's the same for hybrids that are being brought into the reincarnation cycle. They are placed into lineages, into family lineages that require that specific consciousness that that hybrid is bringing to the lineage to help heal that lineage. Healing because everything is evolving, evolution, right? It's growth, it's expansion. This is the design of the greater universe. So everything is designed in such a complex and beautiful way that every organism that is incarnated into a family brings something to help the evolution of that collective. And it's the same with globally as a whole, as a one whole organism. We're experiencing that right now as well. Very good. Thank you for that question. That was an amazing question. Alex says, I have seen a couple of children in my dreams with completely white glowing eyes lately. That's really interesting, Alex. And yeah, so notice the other experiences that you've had around that experience. What other dreams, what other things? Have you had any sightings? A lot of the clients that I work with that are in the hybridization program have these strange one-off dreams with children that are powerfully, powerfully vivid. And I myself have experienced this literally within the past year, where I went through that process again and had a presentation and was had a dream with a child again. And I have to tell you that that dream, again, like my contact experience in 2013, was so incredibly vivid that I can still feel right now, even though I had this dream a couple of months ago, the feeling and the sensations that I had next to this child with me in this dream state. It was a quite lucid dream. So take a look at, all the things around that, and see if you find some more. Let's see what else. Venusian says, are there any hybrids that are not aware that they are hybrids? Uh, y- yes, there are. And, as you know, the way that our DNA, our codes, we go through activations because our genetic code is connected to the collective movement to ascension. And in a sense, there is no time, but there is a process of evolution and opportunity. When there is specific alignment collectively, or when energies align in a certain way based on the progression of this ancestral lineage. So, for example, families that have certain experiences reach a certain point within that lineage where they're ready to evolve on another level. The incarnation of a soul that comes into that lineage is there to express that healing. And even though in childhood, maybe they won't have any connection to any of these things, there will be a certain point in that child's life where it becomes activated through an awakening, through an awareness. When that awareness comes into place, usually they will be flooded with all these memories. And this is something that actually I've experienced myself. When I had my conscious experience, then everything started to open up. But that was only when I was already activating my DNA through meditation. So this can happen. It's an activation that happens. And I believe that all of that is kind of somehow designed as part of your role in collective evolution at this time, right? So in a way, you made the agreement to incarnate into this physical body as what you are, but collectively, the organism brings in souls in order to heal, to keep that progression moving as natural evolution. So I think it's when they recognize that they are these hybrids. Hybrids, we think it's something incredibly special, but we are all genetically modified, and we are constantly, in a sense, becoming genetically modified through evolution, through the food that we're eating, through all the things that we're doing. We're constantly changing ourselves into something that we weren't maybe 3 months ago or when we were born. So as we move through this evolution, every action, thought, and emotion that you feel changes your next generation. The children that you will have will embody the changes that you carry now. So it's important, to remember that. Great question. One Love says Chief Golden Light explains about the spider cosmos connection. He's on YouTube. Very cool. We'll check that out. Thank you for that. Elliot, that's so sweet. He says he highly recommends using. Thank you very much, Elliot. Very kind. Beautiful. How do we defeat the bad hybrid creatures? So again, Joe, the idea that we need to defeat something is something that we need to start pulling away from. We defeat darkness by becoming friends with the darkness, because again, everything that is outside of us being expressed as itself, first of all, we need to understand what is real, what is not real, and that can all be very confusing because there are many layers of programming, many layers of designed perception that need to be broken until you can really understand what's real. Okay. So when you have deprogrammed yourself from everything that's not real, and that even means false perceptions of things. So, for example, in this case, we talk about what is bad. Okay. In reality, because we live in a dualistic expression, there is no bad and good. Everything is a result of cause and effect. And for us, it's very hard to accept that because we have been conditioned to understand that things must be compartmentalized and separate. So, what we want to do now is pull away from that kind of consciousness of separation into unity consciousness. We are one with everything, and everything is a direct reflection of ourselves. It starts with us. Your reality will be different from a person that has different perceptions. So they will see the world differently. So if that's the case, it means that we are our own universe. And so the more we embody that, when we look at beings that do things that are violating, seemingly violating of our own free will, we understand that each participant played a role in that experience. So there is some accountability that goes to both parties. Okay. Nothing happens from chance. Absolutely nothing. Everything is designed just like nature, just like these incredible creatures in nature that they do these incredibly beautiful things. They create their nests in artistic ways, but then when you study them, they're like exact mathematical, fractals and so complex. Nature is complex. We are incredibly complex, and for that reason, nothing is by chance. So we are made to believe that things are by chance, and that kind of feeling makes you feel completely lost and disconnected from any truth, any core foundation of your creation. And that's an inversion of truth. In fact, we are the ones that create everything that we experience, and truth lies in that connection to that all. So, um, good and bad needs to kind of it's an old model of thinking that we need to move away from. Hybrids that are created to create destructive cycles are created to maintain that balance in the universe. And as much as we want to reject that idea, they play a role in maintaining this balance. The question is your role in that. What part of us participated in that? Any feelings of being helpless, any feelings of being disempowered, or any parts of us that fear or doubt our own intuitive power and abilities will pull us away from tapping into higher abilities. So let's focus on that internal integration so that our work can begin to connect with higher vibrational aspects of ourselves. And that's really, really important for contactees that are experiencing trauma, for example, that are experiencing repetitive parasitic consciousness at all times. They can shift and heal from that by simply changing the way that they perceive this dualistic expression. Thank you for that question. Amazing question. Claudio says, in the past 4 years, I keep seeing lights in the sky that are blatantly making themselves known to me and are very interactive with me. Almost daily, I see them. They flash very brightly, swim in, and dance. That's amazing, Claudio. So, what's going on there? It looks like you're communicating with aspects of yourself that are represented in these beings in this family. I really suggest that if you are having this, I can almost guarantee that you're having some kind of contact experience in dream state. So, Here's an invitation. If you can just, in a journal, jot down what your dreams are, especially around the times that you're having this kind of contact experience. And I want you to mark it on your calendar and see if there is a cyclical pattern with your contact. Notice the dreams, the way that you feel. Notice the emotions around those times. Notice the way that you feel throughout the day when you have this kind of contact experience. Do you feel pressure changes? Do you feel, more sensitive intuitively? Become an observer and investigator of your own self in these experiences to learn more, because it can tell you so much about the kind of beings that you're come in contact with your contractual agreement to them, and the role that you play in that contact and creation. So I invite you to take a look at that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Denisha said, are you in contact with the Galactic Federation of Light? Do they oversee this hybridization program? That is a very, very interesting question. And it's one that probably will be addressed, this question. But I have a couple ideas about this Galactic Federation of Light. I'll put it this way. I think that in our exchanges with consciousness outside of our three-dimensional plane, the laws of the universe in terms of exchange play a very important role. But I think the majority of humans don't really understand those laws yet until they understand them and embody them in themselves. I do believe that there is intelligence and consciousness and higher vibrational expressions out there. But I don't believe everything that I hear about the Galactic Federation or whatever they present themselves to be in different scenarios, because what I have heard by some people that channel this, when you listen very carefully to the messages or the information that comes through, there are very deeply inverted things in some of those communications. So I, as always, without categorizing anything, like to kind of observe from far away those kinds of interactions. I think that contact is a very personal thing. I think our connection to the stars represents our development with our multidimensional expression. It represents how far in the dimensional expressions of ourselves we are willing to develop and access our information. The higher we go, the higher the levels of vibrational frequency we're able to access. And when you reach that highest level, there is no exchange with any other being, because you are embodying source. Source is connected to everything. When you enter the lower realms, that's when you start seeing exchanges with some of this consciousness. So always put a word of caution in that. The hybridization program is something that's a part of all of these intergalactic species that are descendants from the main originators that embody the consciousness and the expression of duality in the three-dimensional plane that we live in. So it is the way that the soul is embedded into a physical organism for all living organisms. And we are a product of many different DNA genetic codes that become basically a cocktail. And we are a product of that. Our ability to access that cocktail is the ability to access dimensional expressions and basically all of the fragments of ourselves on all dimensional planes. So it's important to do that work and to connect to that. You have to connect. You have to connect with your beings. What do you feel is true? Listen to your intuition, connect to that, and really, really focus on this connection. Thank you so much for that question. All right, my loves. These lights in the sky. Awesome, D. You are looking at those lights. Maribon said, my guides are telling me that I'm not ready yet to know my total higher self. I have been asking for information about myself because I am becoming aware of who I am. That's beautiful, Mari. And everything comes in due time. So beautiful work. Over the past year and a half, I've been seeing more and more orbs. The ones around me are periwinkle color. Interesting. I've heard periwinkle several times with people. You know, Arcturian consciousness taps into my mind when I think of this periwinkle color that you tune into. What I'd like for you to do is that next time you see something like that, I want you to close your first three chakras, open your top three chakras, and begin to tap in to what dimensional plane this being is in. Everything that we experience externally is a reflection of what we're experiencing inside. So you are activating some dimensional plane in which you're communicating with these beings, and they're manifesting through these orbs for you. So this periwinkle color, which I believe it's this blue consciousness, blue life force energy that comes in different shades, is one of these higher dimensional 11, 12, 13 dimensional aspects that I think are more prominent for those types of colors. So check that out. All right, my love. I am so grateful for your messages. I really want to keep answering so many amazing questions. I can't wait to connect with all of you some more, but I hope to see you guys tomorrow. You guys are amazing. Oh my God, so many questions. I want to answer them all. I'll get into the chat and type in my answers later. But I do need to go. I need to prepare for tomorrow, you guys. I can't wait to connect with you. If you have any questions about hybrids that you really want answered, put them in the chat and I will try to address them tomorrow. And of course, it's going to be an exciting weekend with so many amazing questions. All right. Much love to you. Love you. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.